Hey, hi everyone. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. My computer decided it needed to update right before I was ready to go. So I hope we're good. If you are watching live, welcome. And if you're just watching my replay, then that's okay too. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you found me. So my name is Lauren Bonus, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So if you have any questions or if you need a catalog, please reach out. I do have my mailing list open for the new annual catalog until the end of March. So if you're in Canada and you don't have a demonstrator, just send me a note with your address and I will get one of those sent out to you. The reason I can only have those mailing sectors open at certain times is because unfortunately Canada Post is very expensive to send our annual catalogs through. So I do need to do that via Stampin' Up! And they only offer that the month before a catalog. So let's get playing. I promised you last week, if you watch my weekly episodes, a shaker card. And this is one of the specialty cards I made at my Playing in the Rain mega class last month. So attendees at my class, they ended up making about 16 projects. It was the first time I've done a mega class. So the class was $100 and it included the stamp set for Playing in the Rain. And then of course they could add the dies and the paper if they wanted to make more of these. But this was one of our cards and it was so much fun that I just wanted to share it with you guys. So I have two different versions. One is with kind of the raindrops in the background and one was a happy accident. I accidentally forgot to put the raindrops in, but I thought it still looked cute and it kind of gave me an idea to kind of put other things in the background of a card too. So let me show you how to make this project. I have listed all of the measurements and all the supplies in the description on this video. So you can always come back when you've got your things cut and prepped and you can craft along with me. So let's get going. I'm going to move this one out of the way and we're going to get going. So if you don't know the set I'm talking about, this is Playing in the Rain and it is featured in the January to April mini catalog right now. So I'm really hoping it carries on and comes back in our annual. But it's so much fun. There's little critters in here. You've got some fun little sentiments. We're going to use this Rainy Days Are Better With You because, you know, that's kind of the theme of the card. And then, of course, there are dies that coordinate with this set as well. So in this card, for instance, we're not using a ton of the dies. I'm just cutting out the fox with dies. And I've actually cut that out of our designer paper because they have some that are pre-colored and pre-done. So my focus wanted to be on the window part of this card, and you can always come back and recreate it just with the fox and the stamp and other parts of the suite as well. So I need a stamp block because, you know, that'll help. Let's create. You will need a card base to start with. So I've chosen Balmy Blue and my card base measures 5.5 by 8.5. And I've put a score mark at 4 1/4 here. So I always like to have something on the inside of my card to work with. So in this case, I'm just going to put a piece of basic white. And then if you want later on, you can come back. And I used Balmy Blue to stamp a few little raindrops just to kind of like make my card come alive. So this white is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're putting that on with some sort of flat adhesive. So I love my double-sided tape. You might like glue or you might like seal, whatever your preference is. I'm just going to get this mounted. The inside of the card. The reason I always like to put something like white or some paper on is so you have the ability to write a message, you know, just a quick little hello to or from, and people aren't squinting to read it, because reading off of blue can be a little challenging. So it also makes your card a lot sturdier. So here's our card for now. Now we have a little bit of work to do before we can actually build up the rest of the project. Your first job is going to be to cut a piece of designer paper. So, pardon me, you could just as easily cut one of the beautiful flowery pieces and then do the little turtle or the bunny that's kind of nice and springy and fun. And then, of course, this wouldn't be a rainy card, it would be a very springy and summery card. But I chose the rain because I just thought it was pretty. And look at this paper. It's got a special UV coating on it, so it makes it very shiny and fun and so good to play with. So this piece of paper is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to actually just move this base aside because I need to do a little bit of cutting work with this piece of paper. All right, so we're going to cut using the stylish shape circle. This is the largest of the dies. And not only am I going to cut my designer paper, I also need to cut one of my foam adhesive sheets. Okay, so these are available in our catalog. I believe there's 6 of them in the package, and I just cut this piece down to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 because then it will hide within the space behind my project. Okay, so I want this to be nice and big, and we're going to use the die on that as well. One last thing while you have your trimmer is you're going to cut yourself a window sheet. You can barely see this because it's one of those clear pieces, but this also needs to be 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And if you want, you can cut a second one. It'll make your life a little bit easier if you don't want to do the lining up kind of work that I'm doing later. I'll talk about how you could use your second piece instead and make your life a little easier. So 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Now I need my cut and emboss machine because we need to do our die cutting. Okay, so I've got giant machine hiding up there. We've got our base plate. We've got our little skinny adapter. We've got one of our clear plates that has been cut to bits. And we're going to put that all on our workspace. Okay? Now it doesn't matter which one of these you do first, but we're going to take our die, and I'm placing my circle towards the left-hand side of the page. You can see I want space for my little fox and for my banner to go, but of course it's your card. You could go opposite side, you can go dead center. It's not going to change the project. But I'm just going to have this kind of with an even border on the top, bottom, and the left-hand side. And I'm going to run this through my machine after putting my second plate on top. I need to back up, sorry, otherwise I'm gonna knock things over. Oh. Okay, so save this inside part, you're going to need it. Save those 2 pieces and just set them aside. Now we're going to cut your foam adhesive sheet, and you want to just cut right in the middle as much as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect or measured, but cut right in the middle as much as you can. Roll this through. Whoop. Moving. There we go. This is nice and thick. You won't really use this circle for anything, but don't throw it away. It's a huge amount of adhesive, so perhaps in the future you can use it for something. So I just made myself a little bin of extras because of course I did this for the class, so I prepped them all. And these were even the cutoffs from those edge pieces. You can use one on our project and I'll show you where, but those circle parts, you don't really need them for this, but don't waste them. It's a lot of space. Okay, so coming back to our card project, here we go. So we've got our beautiful little raindrops. We're going to turn this page over, and now I'm going to add some adhesive around the perimeter of my circle. So I do suggest don't use glue right now because you want something that's quick and fast drying. So use seal or use tape and go all the way around this perimeter here. Okay, like that. When you take off the adhesives, we're going to attach our window sheet, and that is going to give you this little buffer here, like so you have something to work with. Okay, okay, here we go. I've got my window sheet, so if you can imagine, now we're going to build up our shaker card, and everything's going to look gorgeous. So what I would like you to do is we're going to take off one of the sides of our adhesive foam, and then I want you to turn it around. So the non-sticky part, you're going to butt up against the hole that you have on the front of your card. Okay, so non-sticky. We're not sticking these together right now. This is not sticky at the moment. The sticky side is going to attach to our card base, and that's so that we can get this lined up exactly where we want it. For the future, okay? This should move off. Doesn't matter what this looks like in the back. This one's crooked, but as you can see, once I throw on my designer series paper, you cannot tell at all, and it doesn't matter, okay? So it doesn't matter if this piece is crooked right now. If you care a lot, you can always like bring it up and try and fix it, but it's not going to matter, okay? Doesn't matter at all. If you've got a little piece that's maybe poking out somewhere, another tip is you can always lift that section up and just chop it out, because nobody sees what's going on in the back here, okay? This part now, we can put our little raindrops inside, like so. I do suggest putting some sort of tape or adhesive in there, just so that you don't get any of your little gems kind of hiding in the back. So put down some sort of adhesive. And this will be the same size, so it should fit right inside here. Go. And then, like I said, if you've got that extra piece of foam, you can put that right in this space here, and then we'll have an even kind of amount of dimensionals between the two set spaces. Now the fun part. So in this suite, this rainy playing in the rain suite, there are daisy embellishments, loose daisy embellishments, and they're gorgeous and so fun. But I figured when we're doing a rain card, we didn't really want like flowers all over the place. So I went to my stash and I got these effervescent elements, and they just look like little pearls almost, okay? So you can put the large ones into this space as well, but they do stick up a bit and it might prevent your card from sealing. So I'm just gonna kind of come through and just pinch out a bunch of the small pearls, and then you can use the large ones for something else later. Different shaker card. Doesn't matter how many you put. I never actually measured how many are in here. So once you're happy, once you've kind of done quite a few, at least probably a tablespoon, I would say, then we will work on closing this card up. of therapeutic just to like feel these out. All the little ones. Okay. So once you're happy with the amount that you have, that's where we're going to now come back and add this piece over the top. We're going to take off the backings from these two and attach it so that this is now perfectly in place, right where we intended it to be at the beginning. So a little static there. Okay, so go ahead and take this off. Don't send these pieces flying. Goes right on top. It's hard when I'm not. That's why I got things crooked in the first place. I need to stand over top of my work sometimes. That's okay. I can live with this. I can fix this. Okay. There we go. So mine's a little off kilter, so all I'm going to do is come in with my trimmer, and I'm just going to trim off a little bit of that at the very end. So that's fine. Maybe I'll do that now. Easier to do before I start adding everything else on. There, much better. There. So now I've got even borders, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so we've made sure to give a nice solid press all the way around here, and then you're ready to decorate. So I have this adorable little fox that I cut out of the paper, and he's shiny too. Do you see that? We're going to pop him up on dimensionals, and then he can just sit kind of right over top of our rain and our shaker. And like that. And then I decided I wanted just a little tag. So this one is a 1/2 inch wide by about 2.5 inches deep. And then all I did on the end was I used one of our little banner punches and gave myself a nice little end. If you don't own a banner punch, you can also just take this as just a scrap. You can take your scissors and do a little snip up the middle, and then a tiny little angle to get to that corner. So if you don't own a punch, you can always make this look on your own too. So like I said, I wanted that rain, or where's my stamp? There we go. That rainy days are better with you sentiment. So I'm just using smoky slate. You can use basic gray or black. If I can get this straight. Pretty good to me. And I'm popping this sentiment up as well on dimensionals, just so it's got a little bit of lift. It just lines up with the side of my designer series paper on the right here. Voila. So not much needed for decor on the card, you get a lot of, oh, hi, Tanya. Thanks for tuning in. You get a lot of features once you start playing around with just the elements and the shaker feature of the card. And then, of course, you could do this with a whole variety of, gems or sequins that you have too. So I hope you enjoyed that project. There's the one with the large pieces, but you can see they kind of pop up a bit. Then there's the one without the backing. And you can decide what you like better. Maybe you wanted to put like some clouds or stamp something in there too. That would look cute as well. So whatever you'd like. And then you can make this all summery and stuff just by using different paper too. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Sorry for the late start, and I hope that you still enjoyed the project. I'm looking forward to seeing you next Tuesday for another edition of Show Me How It's Done, and I can't wait for you to see what I have in store for you. See you later. Bye.